A reading from the book of Leviticus. The Lord said to Moses on Mount Sinai, 7 weeks of years shall you count, 7 times 7 years, so that the 7 cycles amount to 49 years. Then, on the 10th day of the 7th month, let the trumpet resound. On this, the Day of Atonement, the trumpet blast shall re-echo throughout your land. This 50th year you shall make sacred by proclaiming liberty in the land for all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, when every one of you shall return to his own property, every one to his own family estate. In this 50th year, your year of jubilee, you shall not sow, nor shall you reap the aftergrowth, or pick the grapes from the untrimmed vines. Since this is the jubilee, which shall be sacred for you, you may not eat of its produce, except as taken directly from the field. In this year of jubilee, then, every one of you shall return to his own property. Therefore, when you sell any land to your neighbor, or buy any from him, do not deal unfairly. On the basis of the number of years since the last jubilee shall you purchase the land from your neighbor. And so also, on the basis of the number of years for crops, shall he sell it to you. When the years are many, the price shall be so much the more. When the years are few, the price shall be so much the less. For it is really the number of crops that he sells you. Do not deal unfairly, then, but stand in fear of your God. I, the Lord, am your God. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, O God, let all the nations praise you. May God have pity on us and bless us. May he let his face shine upon us. So may your way be known upon earth, among all nations, your salvation. O God, let all the nations praise you. May the nations be glad and exult, because you rule the peoples in equity, the nations on the earth you guide. O God, let all the nations praise you. The earth has yielded its fruits. God, our God, has blessed us. May God bless us, and may all the ends of the earth fear him. O God, let all the nations praise you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Herod the Tetrarch heard of the reputation of Jesus and said to his servants, This man is John the Baptist. He's been raised from the dead. That is why the mighty powers are at work in him. Now Herod had arrested John, bound him, and put him in prison on account of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip. For John had said to him, It is not lawful for you to have her. Although he wanted to kill him, he feared the people, for they regarded him as a prophet. But at a birthday celebration for Herod, the daughter of Herodias performed a dance before the guests, and delighted Herod so much that he swore to give her whatever she might ask for. Prompted by her mother, she said, Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist. The king was distressed, but because of his oaths and the guests who were present, he ordered that it be given, and he had John beheaded in the prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who took it to her mother. His disciples came and took away the corpse and buried him, and they went and told Jesus. The Gospel of the Lord.
The first reading comes from Leviticus 25:1, 8-17. Yesterday we heard about the festivals that Israel celebrated. Well, today we hear about another occurrence on the calendar of Israel, but this one is much more long-term. Every 7th year, the people are to celebrate a sabbatical year, in which they are to give the land a rest. Remember how the people of Israel rest every 7th day? The Sabbath was considered a day of rest because God himself rested. Well, shouldn't the land be given that opportunity too? So no crops were planted on the 7th year. Anything that grew on itself, you could harvest. But you had to be careful not to plant any crop so that the land wouldn't be overburdened. Now, in terms of agriculture, this isn't a bad thing to let a field go fallow for a year in order to regain its fertility. But that wasn't the reason they were doing it. It was much more to represent the action of God. And then every 7th year, either every 49th or 50th, was a Jubilee year. And a Jubilee year was special because the people of Israel were to set Jewish slaves free, to forgive debts, to receive back any property that they might have sold to someone else. So notice, when they were selling a piece of property, they really weren't selling it, they were leasing it to the other person. And the amount that was received was based upon the number of harvests that were left until the Jubilee year. The Gospel is from Matthew 14, 1-12. We hear about Herod and how he thinks that Jesus is John the Baptist risen from the dead. This idea might very well be a guilty conscience because Herod is the one who had John the Baptist arrested. John the Baptist had preached against what Herod was doing. He was living with his brother's divorced wife. He had married her, Herodias. And that was forbidden by the law of Israel. You have to realize the Herodians were not great followers of the law. Their grandfather had converted to the faith of Israel only when his land was invaded. They were originally pagans. And so they don't have a long following of the law, and Herod himself had built many pagan temples, usually outside of Israel, but nevertheless he built pagan temples as a sign of beneficence to the people of Israel to the Greek cities which he visited. They never really followed all the prescriptions. In this case, Herod the Tetrarch is being condemned, so John the Baptist is arrested, but Herod doesn't want to do anything about him because he knows he's a man of God. The wife, however, Herodias, hates John the Baptist, and she arranges that when Salome, her daughter, does a dance for Herod, and Herod promises her anything she wants, that Salome would ask for the head of John the Baptist, and this is how he's martyred. Now, this is an example of how we have to be very careful what we promise others, because Herod kills John the Baptist because he's afraid to go back on his promise to these people that he would give Salome whatever she asked for. He doesn't want to be a squelcher on his debts. But notice, his reputation he considers more important than the life of a man. One of the interesting things about the head of John the Baptist, in Rome, two different churches claim to be where the head is kept, the Lateran and the Vatican. And one of our friars asked the tour guide, how can there be two heads of John the Baptist? And the answer, well, this is his head when he was young, and that's his head when he was old. You have to realize a lot of these relics have very dubious background. Now, since then, I found out that there's a third head of John the Baptist in Istanbul, in the Topkapi, the palace of the Sultan, and there's a fourth head in Damascus, in an Islamic mosque which is dedicated to the memory of John the Baptist. I'm sure there's more of them lying around somewhere, but it's just a reminder that with a lot of relics, we take them with a grain of salt. And may God bless us.